All right, guys, well, welcome to Bad Sons. I'm Matt, I'm the head brewer here. I'm really excited to show you guys some of our processes here and trying to figure out how we make the liquid that everyone's really excited to drink. So
all the good stuff.
Yeah. So welcome. Here's our brew house. So the brew house is kind of where we do all the hot side stuff, we call it. So there's an old saying, as brewers make wort, yeast makes beer. So W-O-R-T, wort, is what we call the unfermented liquid before we add the yeast, before the yeast does its thing. So we're making wort up here in the brew house. This is a 3-vessel system. So you have a combined mash lauter tun here, you have a boil kettle, and you have a Whirlpool vessel. The process really starts with our raw ingredients though. So if you can look over here in our grain room, you can see all these 55-pound bags of grain. There's going to be some barley, there's going to be some wheat, there's going to be some oats. We get all of our grain, all of our base grain, if you will, which is just our robust sugar source, from a bulk silo out there. We auger it into the building, and we can hold it up in the hopper there. We hold it in the hopper until we're ready to brew, and then it drops down into the grist crusher here. It crushes it open, and then it augers it over to the brew house. You can see our spent grain here. I'm brewing a kettle sour beer today called Loompa, which you guys will actually be able to have some just a little bit. So we're making it today. You can see that the grain is nice and crushed. So this is, we call it spent grain. So I've already extracted all of the sugars out of this.
Okay.
And then that's the liquid that you're gonna see in the couple of vessels over there. So welcome up. You guys can take a peek. Inside here is a big rake. And
can we look in there?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
Just don't hop in, that's all.
Wow.
The grain comes in here. This is just a slide that opens and closes. Underneath that is a water jet. So as the grain falls into the vessel, we're hitting it with hot water and we're hydrating the grain. We'll create all of that sugar water, and then we'll start to collect. We'll run it off from this vessel into this vessel over here. So if you can see, this is our boil kettle, which actually has some wort in it right now. This is a steam jacketed boil kettle. So there's actually an inside and an outside wall, and between those two walls, we can actually pump in high pressure steam. And that's the heat source that boils the liquid. So the third vessel here is our Whirlpool, which you can see has some hot wort in it right now.
Wow.
This vessel here has a tangential valve along the side that lets us draw from the bottom of the vessel and then pump the liquid along the wall. And so what that does is that'll spin the liquid around. And so what happens is during that spinning, all of those suspended particles will start to collect at the very bottom in the middle of and it forms this cone of solids, and we just run the liquid right off of that and leave all of that behind. So yeah, Whirlpool, it only goes in the Whirlpool about a half hour, 40 minutes or so, and then we can pump it to the fermentation vessels. The only trouble is that, as you can see, it's pretty hot in there. This is like 210-degree liquid. So we have to get it down to 70 degrees Fahrenheit pretty much instantly. And we do that with, this is basically like a car radiator. There's a thin wall separating that pathway with another pathway, and we counterflow the hot liquid backwards. So that cooling media will immediately bring that 210-degree wort down to 70 degrees.
Wow.
So yeah, so that will come from the brew house into there, does its thing, cools it down, and then of course we have a hose so we can put it anywhere we want. So the yeast it's a fungus, it's a single cell organism, and its primary purpose for us is fermentation. So it's going to take sugar, and through the process of glycolysis, it's going to convert that sugar into ethanol and carbon dioxide, and then 2,000 some odd flavor chemicals.
And how many cans of beer will come out of that?
That will hold about 1,400 gallons of beer, divided by 3 gallons per case. It's about 460 cases times 24 is 11,000 cans. In one of these cups.
That's a lot of beer. Okay. It's very Willy Wonka in here right now.
It can be.
It really is.
It can be, which is fun. This is a modest canning line, but we still do 50 cans a minute. Cans are great. You're seeing a lot of craft breweries these days use cans instead of bottles. So the great thing about cans is that because it's a hermetic seal, so there's no oxygen getting in, and it's metal, so there's no ultraviolet light getting in. If everything's going as planned, packaging-wise, the shelf life of a can could easily last 3-4 times that of a bottle.
Interesting.
Yep.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, of course.